What's up, dude buddy guy? I'm Jaden Kuhlman, and this is Mid Reviews. We'll see how well that title ages. Pop punk legends All Time Low have been far from forgotten since their inception in the early 2000s, scoring their biggest hit to date with Monsters in 2020. It's not an easy feat for bands of their era to be able to rise above their signature hit. I can comfortably say All Time Low is my favorite band, so of course I was excited to hear we'd be getting a follow-up to the amazing Wake Up Sunshine from 2020, even if the album art on this one has about as much life as a modern Sum 41 album. Let's get right into it. The album kicks off with the title track, a song so bad that even with the strength of the first single, Sleepwalking, I began to anticipate that this album would be a disappointment. It begins with a goofy piano riff straight out of the early 2010s and features some of the band's tackiest lyrics, with the biggest offender being "I fuck shit up for breakfast." This track would have felt right at home on their worst album, Dirty Work, from 2011, which found the band favoring a more mainstream radio rock sound following their short-lived record deal with Interscope. Way too much auto-tune on the chorus, a precursor to the many unfortunate and overproduced vocal moments found throughout the album. It's strange because this album has the same producers as Wake Up Sunshine, where these mixing issues just don't exist. This is most prevalent at the end of the track, where the tempo picks up and the guitars start blaring. Alex's voice becomes both compressed and distorted, and it's hard to make out what he's saying because he's so buried by this instrumental. Next track is Modern Love, a song so theatrical you could almost mistake it for a Panic at the Disco song. In the hookup-focused dating culture that we're living in, this is one of the only tracks that feels like it has something to say. The bridge gives us this poetic line, where the pitch shifts in order to censor the word. It reminded me of that one awkward moment in time where Eminem felt compelled to call Tyler the Creator the F word, but suppressed it with a record scratch. I know this song is no long view, but don't put it in the song if you're not going to fully commit. It's distracting. The first highlight of the track list is the absolute banger, Sleepwalking, which is by far the best song on the album and one of my favorites from All Time Low. This was a big success for them, reaching #1 on Billboard's Alternative Airways chart. Great verse and chorus melodies on here, and the song doesn't suffer from the many production flaws that make up the rest of the album. I love the phonetics of Medicate Till My Brain Goes Numb. You can tell the band really put a lot of effort into sculpting each word of this masterpiece. Every other song should have been held to this standard. Alex really goes for it on the chorus of Calm Down, and it's reminiscent of one of my favorite vocal moments of his, the bridge of Glitter and Crimson from the last album. The little acoustic bit in the bridge would have been so much more powerful had they taken the compression off his vocals. That being said, it's still another favorite of mine from this new batch of tracks. English Blood American Heartache is nothing special lyrically, but it's still a fun track with a driving groove. The title being perhaps a clever nod to Alex's English-born roots. The next 4 cuts, however, could all be one as far as I'm concerned, their biggest strength being the ability to zone me out every time. All I can say about the sound of Letting Go is at least they rhyme stereo with something other than radio for once. New Religion with Teddy Swims marks the only feature on the album, and he is far underutilized. As we saw with the band Camino on the last album, giving the second verse to the feature doesn't allow them enough time to stand out in any way. Although there is some vocal chemistry happening when both singers unite on the final chorus, Teddy Swims is far too low in the mix, making it hard to realize he's even there. Things pick back up with Kill Your Vibe. Great riff on this one. At first I felt the vocals on the verses were another phoned-in delivery by Alex, but now I think they complement the explosive chorus as well, especially when the lead guitar comes in subtly on the second verse. The chorus melody gives me hints of the bridge on Lost in Stereo. Every veteran pop-punk band knows how to build tension and release it, and this is displayed perfectly on the bridge. It begins with a reverb-tinged guitar riff followed by the vocals, and eventually the driving rhythm and chugging guitars coming back to build up to the final chorus. It's really All Time Low at its best, and I wish we saw more moments like this. The forgettable closer Lost Along the Way begins with the lyrics, "Can we start this record over? Can we paint with different colors?" Really? That's what I'm asking. It's a less impactful rehash of Therapy from their sophomore album, featuring wistful and corny lyrics such as "The Milky Way is ours tonight" on the chorus. I thought songwriting like this had been retired by the So Wrong It's Right era, and later bookended by Somewhere in Neverland. Clumsy from their last album was a much more focused and tasteful callback to their earlier sound. While I am quite fond of the closer on that album, Basement Noise, I haven't really loved a closing track from All Time Low since Future Hearts, and Lost Along the Way does nothing for me. Coming from someone who loved Last Young Renegade, one of the most controversial entries into their catalog, I was really disappointed by this one. With production I can only describe as overproduced soup, this is the first All Time Low album filled with tracks that make me wonder, what's the point? I mean, we've been here before. The various decent tracks are lost in the sea of mids surrounding them. Although I discourage putting older songs on albums years later, a practice I was first introduced to by Post Malone. I, like many fans, wish we got Once in a Lifetime on here, a track that rivals Sleepwalking. I think we subconsciously wanted a chorus where they name drop the title of the band in the song. One good thing to note is that when All Time Low drops the ball on a record, they always bounce right back with a killer follow-up, and I think they will have no problem doing that again. I give this album a 5. Thanks for watching. I'm Jaden Kuhlman. This has been Mid Reviews, and I will see you real soon.